Welcome to How to Create a Learning Objective. I'm Jonathan Hughes, founder and director of Behold, Messianic Jewish Education, and Sparks of Messiah Online Torah School. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of creating a learning objective. By the end of this video, you should be able to create learning objectives for your lessons. Learning objectives are the most important part of lesson creation. They focus the lesson creator on what the student should be able to do by the end of the lesson. When the lesson is taught, the learning objectives allow the students to understand what is expected of them throughout the lesson and what they should be able to do by the end. When creating any lesson, before you think of what resources or activities you will use, you should come up with your learning objective. This is called backwards planning, where you start at the end goal and then work backwards to create resources and activities to get you to that goal. I promise, it will be much easier for you to plan and create lessons if you start at the end with a learning objective. So let's get started with our first learning objective. There are three main parts of a good learning objective. The first part is the sentence starter. The sentence starter we use is students will be able to. This sentence starter reminds us to keep everything in the lesson student-centered. We want to select resources and activities which keep the students engaged and firmly in the center of all the learning. The second part of a good learning objective is choosing an action word, which will describe what the students will do by the end of the lesson. We use action words which are developed from Bloom's taxonomy. This taxonomy lays out skills from lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills. The purpose of his taxonomy is to show how different tasks require a different level of thinking. For example, a lower order thinking skill would be list the steps of your cookie recipe. This is a simple memory recall activity and doesn't require the student to do anything more with the information after remembering it. A higher order thinking skill would be defend your cookie recipe according to taste and technique against a competitor's cookie recipe. This activity requires much more thinking. It requires a knowledge of how taste works, what tastes people like in the cookie, what technique the student and his competitor used, and finally, how to create a convincing argument to defend his cookie recipe. Action words have been created from Bloom's taxonomy, and you will want to select an action word from this list for your learning objective. Though we won't go in depth in this video about this topic, I do want to bring up one thing about selecting action words for lessons in a larger unit of study. At the beginning of a larger unit, lessons usually start with knowledge and comprehension activities. And then as the students gain knowledge and experience, later lessons will have more of the higher level activities. The final step of a good learning objective is to finish the sentence with what the students will do to show their learning. This should be something measurable. For example, if the learning objective was, students will be able to identify the parts of a computer. This is measurable because you can give them a picture of a computer and they can write what each part is. Or if the learning objective is students will be able to compose a song based on Yeshua's teachings about charity, then you can measure that by collecting their lyrics for the song or even have them record themselves singing it. All right, to review the three steps of a quality learning objectives are 1. The sentence starter, which for our learning objectives is students will be able to. Step 2, the action word. We select the action word based on Bloom's taxonomy. And finally, step 3, what the students will do to show their learning. Once you put these all together, you have developed a quality learning objective. Now you're ready to start developing your own learning objectives for your lessons.